go to Diane King Hall from the New York Stock Exchange. Talk some tech for us with Qualcomm and Qorvo. Apple suppliers, Qorvo more than Qualcomm, but both like 20, 30%, Diane.
Yeah, let's start off with Qualcomm, both out with their quarterly report cards, but Qualcomm reporting EPS $2.44 a share. That beat expectations. Revenue came in at $9.4 billion, also a beat. One more thing, let's call it a hat trick for Qualcomm, strong revenue guidance, okay? So that is helping to give some lift to the stock this morning. That stock is up just above 9% at the moment. So it's moving higher. We know Qualcomm is the world's biggest seller of smartphone processors. So it has that to its benefit, although it's trying to expand its reach beyond just that, especially in terms of any potential weakness within the smartphone sector. So in terms of where they got these gains, a lot of it was from China for Qualcomm, right? So they saw a lot of growth in China, and there had been some concerns in general for just about every sector with regard to demand in China, but Qualcomm saw a growth there from a lot of its customer base. Did not deal with any weakness there, so it has strength there. In terms of their revenue guidance, they are projecting that revenue will come in between $8.8 billion to $9.6 billion. So again, that's better than expected, and it just signals strong demand for the smartphone market in general in terms of that sector. And of course, the smartphone sector did gain some ground within the last quarter, but it is a little bit slower than the prior period when you think about just demand in general in the sector. It has some benefit in general from going up against, say, Huawei, which we know Huawei has been banned here. So as you mentioned, Apple, it is a supplier for Apple, not the biggest supplier, because Apple uses it for connectivity chips and not the processing aspect. So again, Qualcomm up right now about 9%. Let's go over to Qorvo and take a look at their results. Qorvo EPS was $1.39 a share, adjusted EPS. That was a beat. Revenue $941 million, also a beat for Qorvo. You're looking at shares on the move of Qorvo. That stock right now is actually under some pressure, so it's trading converse to how Qualcomm is performing. So although the results were better than expected, there definitely seems to be some concerns. Guidance for Qorvo is revenue is expected to come in a range of $825 million to $875 million, so certainly much lower than the expectations for Qualcomm. But again, you are comparing that to a heavyweight, so it is, a smaller company by comparison to Qualcomm, and you're seeing, tale of two chip makers there in terms of their performance right now in the market, Oliver.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a tense message on Apple when you look at Qorvo, but Qualcomm helps reassure, except Qorvo's kind of more of a pure Apple play. Thing with Qualcomm too is they kind of flex their muscles with the dividend increase as well, it's a big deal popping above the one-year high. I think that investors are going to be pretty happy to finally see Qualcomm get up there after a couple months of sideways action. It definitely brings some hope generally to semiconductors. Nvidia's right now trading back above 850. I'm kind of surprised it's up this much. Qualcomm, I mean, the numbers aren't massive, but I guess when you are stable enough, when you're that size, market's happy with you. But
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Dividend helps too.
And it's true. And to be fair, both companies are up on a year-over-year basis, although Qualcomm much more than Qorvo. So again, the heavyweight, continues to just lead this space in terms of that.
Very helpful for semiconductors today, for sure. Market kind of easing up a little bit. Let's talk Etsy. Big sell-off. Probably not the most surprising one, though, Diane.
Yeah, Etsy under pressure this morning after posting its quarterly number. So Etsy down double digits. EPS was 48 cents a share. That was weaker than expected. Revenue came in at just shy of 646 million. The expectation was for more than 648 million. So both its top and bottom line were worse than expected for Etsy. That stock is down more than 17% at the moment, approaching down 18%. So there was really concerns about what kind of demand is occurring on its platform. The company called out weakness with the consumer. We've talked about that with other companies in their recent earnings reports. We talked about that with regard to, we've looked at that with regard to, say, McDonald's, et cetera. The CEO, Josh Silverman, talked about the pressures for consumer discretionary. So it looks like in saying that that is a headwind for Etsy's marketplace. Josh Silverman also saying they continue to see a, quote, challenging macroeconomic environment. So we're continuing to hear this theme of weakness in the consumer and the consumer being more cautious with how they are spending their dollars, and that's certainly hitting Etsy because, look, it's a choice there. It's not a need for people to head over to Etsy's marketplace.
Yeah, I just don't feel like if we are in any degree of economic stress, I feel like the stuff that gets bought on Etsy is the first to go. That's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. It's like, you know, you're, especially in the world of Amazon Prime delivery and, you know, if you are used to shopping on Amazon for things and then you need something unique and you go to Etsy, it's like, what world am I in here? What century did I go? Did I time travel into where I have to wait a week and pay 30%, like, you know, for this thing that's already, already expensive, you know, like.
Absolutely, yeah, because when you're going to Etsy, you're going usually typically for unusual things,
right?
Something that might be off the beaten path, and you know, there's a lot of small businesses that operate on that platform. And the customer now, as you mentioned, is used to timely delivery. So if you can't compete on an Amazon level, it's very difficult to operate there. Which very few of these sellers can do.
They're out, a lot of them are out of their garage, or they're international. A lot of it comes from overseas as well. All right, can't say I'm surprised on that one. Thanks, Diane. Appreciate it very much.